Grita Radio. Señal binaria en tus oídos.
Muy buenas tardes, tengan todos ustedes bienvenidos a una sesión más de Estante por vía remota a través de Grita Radio. Today I'm very happy that I am connecting all across the small pond we have between us, from all the way from Finland, right? We have Henri. Welcome to Grita Radio.
Yes, thank you so much. Great to be here. Great to be here.
I mean, we rarely have. Well, now we do have from time to time chance to speak to artists that are on the other side of pretty far at least, and we have no context, right? So what is it to be a pop musician, electronic pop dance musician in Finland?
Overall, it's great. I mean, yeah, this is my home base. This is where I live, but the music I make, most of the people that listen to it are abroad, you know, around Europe and in the States and stuff. So, I mean, this is a nice home base, a very nice place to live, pretty chill, and like a lot of nature, which definitely inspires me and all that. So yeah, love it over here.
Yeah, I mean, I can tell. I mean, I can see your plants over there. I'm very envious. My house has terrible, natural light, so nothing grows here. It's horrible. So I'm very, very, very envious. And I'm you use the term organic because electronic music still has its bad reputation as being artificial, mechanical. So how do you imbue your music with organicness, or how do you make your music organic?
I mean, I think a lot of it stems from my background from like playing in a lot of bands. I used to do that. That's like how I originally got into music and making music. I was playing in all kinds of bands when I was like from like around 10 or 12 years old to like 25-ish or something. And that's definitely my where I started from. And then I got into electronic music and dance music maybe around the time I was 20 or something. And like over the years, I've started to like combine the two worlds and like really want to bring them together and like make electronic music that is organic or has organic elements and keeps growing and moving all the time in an organic way. And I think the way I arrange the songs and the samples I use and the feels I try to like bring out through the music, that probably like stems from the band background of how like bands arrange songs and the way, you know, things keep moving and changing and how the feels coming and stuff. So yeah, I think it comes from that pretty much.
So what parts do you want to keep from electronic music? What parts do you want to keep from this kind of more band oriented background? When you make the mix, you know, you could take, each one has its own whole thing, or own way of being. So how do you pick which parts you keep from which one?
I mean, I think that changes all the time. The kind of like deeper I get in with the whole thing and the more I keep searching and developing the sound. But overall, for example, for the EP that just came out, a lot of the more kind of band organic vibes came from a lot of like string samples and gospel samples and stuff that I sped up and pitched around. And also there's some guitar here and there and stuff. Like with the songs on the EP, I think the structures and kind of like the tension building is the thing that's mostly coming from like the electronic music, you know? And then the way I arrange it, that has a lot of the band influence. I don't know, that's how I kind of like think about it, at least right now.
A lot of the people I know who came from bands and then started making electronic music, which is actually very, very common. One of the reasons they have given me about doing the transition is that they wanted more control on their music. Are you also in that camp, or are you the exception of like something they really liked about electronic music was that they could do it completely on their own?
I mean, it's not like I still collaborate on the songs. Like I write the songs with a lot of different people, but of course it's me at the end of the day who like decides where the songs really go and stuff. Yeah, so yeah, definitely like maybe the control is a part of it, you know, because like, you know, I have the vision and I hear it in my head and I want to do it a certain way. But I don't know. Yeah, it's part of it. But like mostly I just want to like make something that I'm excited about and has as many elements that I enjoy personally. And those two happen to be like the indie band stuff and then the more electronic dance stuff. And that's my kind of like mission with this project. I want to like bring those worlds as together as possible in a cool, clear way that no one is really doing. And now I think I'm only at the very start of that, you know, like, but I'm exploring all the time and it's super interesting.
No, the EP is full of really accomplished songs. Come on, I mean, musically, it's already there. But
Thank you, man.
How about the audience? How people reacted so far to the EP? It came out about a couple of weeks ago, right?
Yeah, it was like 2.5 weeks ago. Yeah, but people have been really excited. The people who have heard it so far, we're still at the start of like promoting it and, you know, like making it go the rounds, but people have been really excited. And then the messages I've been getting, it's been really nice to see that a lot of the people have really kind of understood what I was going for, how I wanted to like create this small world, this like microcosmos of this kind of sound and these emotions within the EP and the songs on the EP, and kind of like give the listener that emotion that I was feeling when I was making it. So I'm really happy that people have been like responding to that and have been getting things out of it, which is super, super amazing.
When you talk about the emotional aspect of the EP, something I felt, I mean, I don't know if that it was part of the intention, is that there's ambivalence or at least a dynamic of going from like more downy emotions to more euphoric ones. So something like hopefulness, right? So the idea that there is something negative in the present, but maybe something positive that we have to build. I always felt this kind of dynamic. They're not like sad songs or euphoric songs or happy songs. They are more like we're going from here and we're getting there. That what you mean when you talk about this emotional content of the EP?
Definitely, yeah, exactly. I think it's like both those things at the same time, kind of like, to me, it's in a place in time where, you know, you've gone through these like huge kind of like life-changing experiences. For example, I was going through a burnout, or I was just like recovering from it, you know, around that time when I started making these songs. And it's kind of like the worst is behind you and you're starting to get like really hopeful. I don't know, I don't think like I ever lost hope in any sense, but like you're getting, you know, through the worst of it, but you're still kind of just only now kind of opening your eyes and starting to understand and process stuff. But there is definitely like most of all, there is this like underlying hopefulness there that is I think the foundation, and the sadness that sits on top of it is just kind of like, you know, you're just processing through it, but you know it's not for forever, you know. But yeah, definitely exactly like that.
I'm glad that you went through it. Well, no, actually, I'm sorry that you had to go through it, but I'm glad that you're on the other side now. But are
Yeah,
you
definitely.
that now that you're no longer going through this difficult emotional period, that is also going to affect your songwriting, so that your music is not going to be able to have that kind of dynamic?
Of course, it like changes a little bit with time and where I'm at with things in life. The new songs I'm working on right now, they are maybe a little bit more, I don't know if they're lighter, but they're definitely more on the uplifting side. But there is always, I think there will always be that certain bittersweetness to the songs I make, because that contrast to me is the most like effective emotion that I get out of music when it's done right. That like contrast of uplifting, happy, and then the bittersweetness and a little bit of the sadness, that to me always kind of like speaks to me the like most powerful in songs that I like. So definitely that'll always be there as the core thing, but I might go between like the spectrum a little bit more to the right from here on out.
So you're also saying that that's kind of your personality, right? You have this.
Definitely, I bet that also reflects my personality in the way that I'm definitely emotional and I feel things in a big way. I can kind of like stay in control most of the time, but so it's not like crazy, but like, like it, I like to feel things definitely in life.
What I didn't pay a lot of attention was to the lyrics when there were lyrics. So I actually didn't pay attention to what way they were about. So is it also in the lyrics, this kind of dynamic of having these both sides?
Yeah, on the EP, the lyrics they're more of like a picture in a moment. They're not like really deep in that, but I think they're just part of like the emotion and the part of the like vibe of the whole song that kind of supported. Yeah, but they're definitely in the same kind of bittersweetness, sad, a little bit uplifting. Like, for example, Perfect, this song, which is, pretty much like more on the positive side, and then like Close to You is more on the sad kind of, I lost you, but I still, feel close to you and stuff. So there's definitely both of those there too, with the lyrics there.
Okay, now I want to also know, how did you start working with Headroom Records? I mean, it's from Unity, right? So it's in France, but you're in Finland. So how did you come together?
Yeah, actually, my manager is Swedish. He's this guy called Dan Karlström, great dude. And actually, we met through him. Like, just first got introduced via email, and he was really into the music, and then we had a meeting, and then we went to Paris and met up and hang out for a couple of days, and started working basically, because like it felt like they had the right vision and the right like headspace for how to build this project. I'm super happy to be working with them. They're amazing, and their roster is so dope. A lot of great people over there.
But a lot of people, have been talking about the end of labels, that artists can't do anything. So why? I mean, because you were kind of vague there at the end about what this vision was. So what is this shared vision you have with them, and how do you think they can help you achieve it?
I mean, they're really great at like I think there is a place for labels in the world still, but like maybe not in the traditional sense that how people would think a major label works. Like, of course, there's need for major labels too, but like I think especially smaller labels and indie labels can help out artists really hone in and develop their kind of sound and brand and aesthetic around the whole thing, and like really making the right decisions on along the career path, like what should we do next, where should we go, should we do this or that. And I think if you find the right people who share like the same aesthetic and same view on the business in the world and the music, then that thing together can be really powerful, I think. And that's what we have with Headroom Records, like that whole thing.
That's great. So okay, so let's go back to you say you played in a lot of bands before. So what was your first instrument?
My very first instrument was the piano. My mother put me, for piano lessons after school when I was like 6 years old or something. And I played the piano for like 3-4 years. But then I really got into music when I saw my cousin play guitar at this, like, it was like a family thing, I don't remember, but I was around 10 at the time, and that's when I really got like properly into music. Like, and I'd say like guitar is my main instrument, because that was the biggest instrument, like that had the biggest impact on me, definitely. And that's around 10. Then I got my dad bought me a cheap knockoff electric guitar, and then started playing in bands straight away with my school friends and stuff, and kind of like learning from there.
Good. But and you say that you still play guitar on this EP, right?
Yeah, there's stuff on the EP, not like in like the main like
Melody
sections. Yeah, but there's a lot of like ambient guitar stuff on the EP, and I think I'm going to be probably using the guitar stuff more on the newer songs. So it's going to be interesting to see how it shapes up, because that's also something that I feel like isn't done enough in electronic music. Like, how would you use guitar in a creative way in an electronic music environment?
Yeah, because I mean, it's such a full of possibilities instrument, right? It's got
Exactly. And especially nowadays, because you can just like effect it in a weird way, use all kinds of plugins and make all kinds of like interesting sounds with it. It's just, yeah, be really creative.
What did you do the EP in a studio, or was it at home in your home studio?
I have a studio. I worked on some of the EP over there, definitely like the finishing up part of it. But then there's like this family cabin in the middle of nowhere, like in the middle of forest, like this small place, like our family cabin where I go a lot. And I was working on the music there a lot, like especially like on the idea stage. That was a really inspiring environment to be in and to be working at. So yeah, I mean, but like now I really like the fact that you can just take your laptop and headphones and go anywhere and work anywhere pretty much. And I try to do that as much as possible, to like sit outside in a park, in a cafe, wherever, and you're always getting a different vibe from the environment you're in. Like it's always like a different headspace, and you do things a little differently, which is nice.
But you're talking about two very different environments to do music, something like public, like a cafeteria, there are people, urban, and then isolated in a in a forest. So there's also kind of another tension there, right? So, but when you say that you went to this cabin to develop part of the ideas, that meant that the composition was taking place there. You already had more or less the ideas before, and you went and finished it there, or how much of the process was there in the cabin?
Most of the like ideas started there, and
okay,
because I was living there with my girlfriend at the time.
So you
around
completely
for like a couple months, and that was around the time I was like recovering from the burnout. So that's where I was kind of like making a lot of the ideas and just playing around and starting to kind of like develop the sound. And then at the later stage, I would take it to the studio and then like finesse the things over there.
Okay, but the EP, well, short album EP, it's
EP, yeah,
right. So how many ideas did you have? How much was left in the
I mean, there were probably like, I'd have to check my lists, but like probably around maybe 30-ish ideas, but they weren't like fully fleshed out songs. Like some of them maybe were, but not all of them, but maybe something like that. And then it kind of like started to come together from that. And I always like, I always keep making music all the time, making new ideas and putting them in the bank. And then it always takes time when you're like creating this unified project, like an EP or even an album. It takes a little while to like start to hear how you want the whole thing to sound like, even if you've like gathered a lot of ideas. So I think I always need that in the process first before I can like hear the bigger picture, you know.
So what was it? What was the criteria? What was that built together these 8 tracks that made them belong together?
Well, it was there were like 2 things. Sonically, it was the use of the organic stuff, like the gospel samples and string samples and you know, shakers instead of hi-hats and stuff, like, which usually when you're doing drums for an electronic music track, you know, there's the hi-hat that's doing the backbeat, but like I try to use on the EP as like a lot of soft shakers that would kind of like give it more organic vibe, you know. And those things, and then the certain like emotion that we talked about earlier, like the bittersweet, sad, uplifting, euphoric, the combination of those, like those were the main kind of like key points for me when making this EP.
So that means that if we heard some of the other ideas there, we might find like some really more straight ahead dancey electronic tracks or something that is completely different from what came out in the EP.
A couple ones are definitely a little bit like out of but there's a lot of ideas that are sitting in the kind of like same world, definitely, because I was already at that time, when I was making those ideas, I had like narrowed it down quite a bit, like what I want the different sound bites to be like, so there's definitely more stuff in like the drawer that are also kind of in the similar world than this EP.
But then if you're composing all the time and you have all these ideas, how do you decide when you want to start a new idea or where you want to go back to take some of those old ideas and develop them? How do you make those decisions?
Usually most of the time I just want to make a new idea all the time. So that's what I usually end up doing. And then when we have a deadline coming up, then I'm like, okay, now we need to narrow it down. Like, let's choose, 3 songs or 5 songs or whatever. And then I'm going to really go in on them and build them properly out and finish them and like make them sound as good as possible. So yeah, because I'm always at the, like a lot of the times at the very last minute of, finishing an EP or making new songs or something, when you've already kind of like thought that, okay, and like agreed that, okay, these are the songs that we're going to do or use, then very often at the like last minute, you make a new thing that's even better than some of the songs, which is good. And that's great. That's part of the process. So I always try to stay open for that possibility that, something might come in at the very end that kind of switches it up.
And did that happen? Did that happen in this EP, that song?
Yeah, there were like, I'd say the key songs were there pretty early on, which I would say that like Talk and Something We Would Dance To and Close To You were there early on. But then the last 2, Perfect and Heart, they came in at the very last minute. Like I had rough demo ideas of each, that I'd never like fully worked on them and like made them proper songs. But then we were thinking like, how do we want to build the release plan and stuff? And I just like kind of went in on them and made something. And then everyone were agreeing that, okay, yeah, these sit super nicely with the, the plan that we want to have and the stuff that we want to do, So yeah.
And I like that you're talking in plural, right? Like that's we were going to do this, we're going to release.
Yeah, I'm not talking like we, not asking, it's not me, but it's just me and the people that I work with, because like I think it's a joint effort and it wouldn't be nearly as fun if I was just completely alone in this, even though it's me as the artist, but still like my manager and the label and then all the people I write the music with. It's just a joint effort and a collaboration in every front, and it's always so much more fun like that.
So we already talked about the label, but we haven't talked enough about the other collaborators you have. So because you just said that even on the writing process you have collaborators, right? So who are these people and how do you trust them?
I mean, for this EP, a lot of these songs, like the vocal bits in these songs, they originated from songwriting sessions that I had earlier on, like not thinking about this project.
Oh.
And then I went in with this project, like went through my old demos that I'd written with people. And then I was kind of like starting to sample those demos, like the vocals in those demos, taking the bits and pieces of them. So there's like the vocalist on Perfect is Kuchka from Australia, and Something We Would Dance To, it's El Divine from the UK. Like these are like artists around the world that I've had the pleasure of working with at some point. And I just kind of went in, on the demos that we'd written like 3 years ago and took the bits and arranged them into new songs. And everyone were super happy with the results. So I'm really glad that like it worked out in the end and everyone were agreeable to like putting it out,
Yeah, but I mean, that sounds fascinating, but also puzzling, because it means that it took a lot of time for the songs to develop. These sessions were in person or originally?
Yeah, these were in person. These were the songs that the original songs for these songs, or the demos that I sampled. They range from being written in anything between like 2017 to 2020 maybe, or something. So it was just like, I was just going through these new ones that I'm putting out after the EP. They are more recent and like stuff that I've been working with people in person over the last couple of months. And it's a little bit different, which is also super nice and inspiring. But like the EP, I wanted to kind of like build out of the stuff that never got released but still had something good in them. And then I just wanted to like have this challenge of how do I flip these ones into something really interesting and unique and something that sounds like me, you know?
So you called them and you were like, oh, you remember that thing we demoed 7 years ago? It's
Yeah, I mean, we
making a
did that.
comeback.
Yeah, exactly. Or like I emailed the songs to them when I was done with them, you know, that, hey, how do you like this? And like, you know, yeah, it was kind of like a fingers crossed type of thing, you know?
Yeah, well, what if they said like, no, don't touch, I am past that, I don't want to remember those things?
They could have done that easily. Yeah, they could have done that. They would have had total right to do that. But like, I'm really glad they didn't.
Well, what was like the most enthusiastic response you got?
I'm not sure. Everyone really liked the songs. They didn't have like any notes or anything. I'm not even sure who had the like most exciting response. Everyone was just like, this is fucking great. Let's go. Like, let's figure it out. Yeah.
No, yeah,
So.
they're completely right. It ended up great.
Thank you.
But then you're saying that you are going back to doing those kind of things now, right? You are collaborating again live. That means in Finland?
In Finland, and I'll be going to Stockholm a lot and stuff like that. Yeah, I'm having sessions with different artists and writers and just writing for the project, and it's actually super inspiring to do it like this, because like I really know what I want and what I don't want. I have like a really clear vision of what I want to do, and then it's really inspiring and easy for other people to jump on it. Like, okay, let's do it. Like, what about this or that, or you know, like it's really clear what we're making. So you know,
but how do you choose who to approach?
It could be like people that I know from before that I've worked with that are great, or then I just might hit up people, or my management might hit up people that we feel like are exciting. If I found some new artist, you know, through Spotify or SoundCloud or something, like it varies. It depends on like the case.
And they have always said yes, or have you had some rejections?
I mean, of course, like not all the sessions that, you know, I want to make happen, you know, but it doesn't feel like a rejection or anything. It's just, you know, things go the way they go.
Yeah,
and that's just, you know, but yeah, definitely like, but surprisingly many has happened, which has been nice.
And the results, they have always become releasable tracks, or sometimes, well, you know, the chemistry is not there and it's just nice to collaborate. But
sometimes it's like that, but for the new ones that I'm working on right now, like after the EP, surprisingly many of the sessions have actually gone really well. And I've just like in the sessions, we only just like play some nice chords and create like a quick ambience of nice samples, and then we write on top of that, and then I take that home. You know, we might have a verse and a chorus or something, and then I take the vocal out, put it into something totally different with a different key and tempo, and try to like create something interesting with that. And then that could take a couple months or whatever. And then whenever I get that to a point where it feels like an interesting idea, then I'm like, okay, let's go. This is now like something actually that has potential, you know? So, and that's right where I'm at right now. Like I'm sitting on a lot of songs that are at that stage, and now I need to actually finish them.
Yeah, you already said that was kind of the difficult part, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's not like difficult. I know how to do it, but it's the part that feels most like working, you know?
Okay. But thank you so much for your time. Thank you for talking with us and for taking the time of the day that matches us and the language that is helpful for us. Is there anything that you want the people from Mexico City to know about Henri that we haven't discussed yet?
Go listen to the EP. The EP is called Rakkaus, and which means love in Finnish, and that kind of like encapsulates the whole EP, the different themes around it, I think. And go listen to it if you're feeling sad, or if you're feeling happy. If you're just feeling things, just go listen to it.
But now that you bring up the names, aren't you worried that Henry is a very common name and that you're choosing it as your artistic name, it's going to be difficult to just Google?
Yeah, I mean, there is that risk. You're right, but I don't know. I just like to think that the music is good, and over time it'll, do its job.
So people are know, I mean, in the context, they're going to know which Henry we are talking about.
Yeah, down the line. Yeah,
down the line. Well, yeah, I hope it's a great start. This EP is great. I'm very happy that we had the chance to talk.
you.
And I hope we'll be able to. Do you have any plans of coming to Mexico or doing the rounds in this part of the world?
100%, but just don't know yet when. So like as soon as possible, I would love to come over there and like play some shows or DJ even, or definitely as soon as possible. That I would love that.
Okay, so yeah, keep in touch with us, and we hope to see you here.
Totally.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. This was great.
So tell me, is this something we would dance to? Is this something we could do?